Well, we go. Welcome back to Rolling the Bomb. Just got done watching the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. To me, it was a solid race. Kyle Larson kind of dominated this race. Drove a great race. When you give Kyle Larson a very good car, and also he's such a good driver, so incredible car control, it's going to be a long day. To me, I felt like the race, you felt like due to the fact that we also had Tyler Reddick, who was probably his best competition in this race, you always knew Tyler could get to Larson in second place. He could have a chance to pass Larson and compete for that win, and that's kind of how we saw it. But we didn't see as much of Tyler Reddick due to issues. But we break down this race. To start off the race, Joey Logano was on the pole. Didn't really start off that great. He got passed within lap 4 or something. And after that, he kind of just fell off. And really, Larson took the lead from there, and then his teammate William Byron took second there, and that's kind of how they were racing. And then on lap 4, I believe Zane Smith had an issue, tire going down early, and that ruined Zane Smith's day for good. Right off that, he was multiple laps down. He could never really get back on the lead lap, had issues. And then they kept racing, and then on lap 11, Christopher Bell had a tire going down. I don't know, tires were a big deal. I guess they were messing with air pressure. So this is a new right side tire that these teams were testing out, or NASCAR was giving these teams to see how they would wear. And right off the bat, teams, especially Christopher Bell, was struggling on that and kind of tire go down real early. That kind of set Christopher Bell's day back, but didn't take him out of this race as we would go into the race later on. And then on lap 28, Chris Buescher had a loose wheel going down. Later on, looks like they did not get that wheel tightened fully. The mechanism that he used to lock the tires and secure the tires on the lug on the tire was not fully secure, and that ruined his day. He got wrecked, and he was out of the race because of that. Really a bumming way. RK has not had a great start. Also, that's due to the fact that you're in these super speedway type races where you have a higher chance of getting wrecked. So really a bumming day for him. And then later on in that stage 1, we had a biggest piece of trash I've ever seen, this black trash bag over the 24 car. He was running in 5th, 6th, 7th place, and I believe he said his water temperature got up to like 350 degrees, super, super hot. He had to come down, and that's kind of what ruined his day for maybe having the good track position, because then after that, he was kind of fighting to come back. He was a lap down. I was going to get his lap back, but he was never in that great position to get back up where he once was and really challenge for the lead. But as stage 1 continued, Larson took the lead, but he did have a hard charge in Tyler Reddick that worked his way up from his starting spot to almost trying to go after that stage win, but Larson was able to take home the stage win. As we entered stage 2 after the pit stops, Tyler Reddick had a bad pit stop. He got into his box well, but it seemed like he was having trouble getting out of his box, had to back up, and that killed him. I think he had to restart like 16th, and that's what really hurt him, because we knew he had a fast car after the results from stage 1, that we felt like if he could stay on Larson, that they could really be battling for a lead. And also, there's a lot of tire strategy with this. Some people taking 2 tires to get track position, so that's also what mixed up the lead. Larson wasn't always starting up front on restarts. Especially entering stage 2, we had Hamlin and Truex up there. And that's also, Hamlin's qualified bad, but due to the strategy and also having a good car to get himself in good, top 10 track position, he stayed up there most of the race. Restarted, and then a couple laps into that, multiple laps into stage 2, we had another spin. It was with Christopher Bell. Looks like he just got loose or tight and lost it completely. No tires were down. And that was also another add-on to his day. Really killed his day. Continued really struggling. And soon with the handle of that car. Then I had a caution for Christopher Bell restart, and the restarts were really, really entertaining. We saw very bold, daring moves, 3 to 4 wide. That really, really was exciting to watch. People, I guess, realized the best time they passes was early in the restarts, early in the runs, because that was when the tires were the most grip, they were the freshest. That's how you were really able to kind of make spots up, and then hopefully you made enough spots up where you could kind of settle in and then stay from there and kind of keep your track position, and hopefully, your car was good in the run where you could make spots up. We continued into stage 2, getting near the end. Tyler Reddick was able to work his way back up, really did a great job. You could tell his car was good when he was able to come from 16th to 2nd. Back kind of challenged Larson, but he didn't really have a challenge for him for stage 2. Larson also took stage 2, swept the 2 stages. Reddick finished 2nd again. We also saw Hamlin taking 3rd and Blaney taking 4th in that stage, and Truex And then when we come into stage 3, Rennick had a much better pit stop, was able to stay with Larson, and they both restarted 1-2 on stage 3, and they just raced aggressively. And that's kind of where we saw who was going to be, who can put themselves in positions. But even with all that, Larson's car was just so strong. So good. He wasn't making mistakes. He wasn't doing his team. His pit crew was doing a great job. No mistakes there. Just drove a flawless race. And for multiple laps in the stage, we saw great racing, 3x3 racing, exciting. I mean, they were racing really. It was fun to watch that restarts. It wasn't like they would get restarting and they would then spread out quickly. They were able to stay really compact and race aggressively. We saw daring, bold, diving moves in the turns when they were going 3 wide. You could get massive runs on the straightaways. And it was really fun to watch those drivers, pick and choose top to bottom. So that was really entertaining and fun to watch. And about 33 laps ago, we saw our last caution. Corey Joy looks like he got loose. Almost we thought Brad had some contact with him, but he didn't. He just got loose naturally, spun out by himself. He was having a good run. I mean, Corey Joy, I think the highest he was running is like 3rd or 4th. So he had a good run going and was running, comfortably in the top 15, especially for a Spire car. So that was really cool. I guess you could kind of see what Spire's been working on, and they're really improving. That this could be, even though this was a bad way to end, and they ended up having a bad finish because of the spin, you definitely could see some promise in what they could bring to the future mile and a halves coming up this season. Then we had our final restart with Chastain taking a strategy move, taking 2 tires on this last pit stop, older tires, and the goal was to hopefully stay out front and block the crap out of the competition. Like Larson and Rennick was able to restart it well there. But even with everything that Chastain was doing, it was nothing. Larson's car was too strong, was able to make a pass on Chastain, and that's kind of where it stayed with Larson P1. And then we saw kind of Chastain trying to defend, but the car was not strong enough, was not good enough compared to the guys that were on 4 tires. And that's where we saw kind of Rennick take control and kind of set himself in to P2. But then it was a battle between Kyle Larson and Tyler Rennick for the last 13 laps. There was a lot of commotion, a lot of passing, a lot going on with Ross Chastain fading. Blaney was really, really strong. Also, Ty Gibbs. We saw Noah Gragson up there too. It was fun to really see Noah Gragson run really, really, really well. We're going to talk about him when we come to our top finishers. Well, 13 laps ago, we saw a battle between Rennick and Larson, and it was fun to watch. There would be, turn 3 and 4, felt like Tyler Rennick was really able to run that wall up against the wall really well. He was getting a lot of momentum on there, was able to have good runs on the front stretch. But then I felt like Larson was so strong on 1 and 2, where, Rennick was good, fine, but Larson, that was where he was just able to keep that gap. And he was managing that gap well. I'm not sure what he was all doing, but we're coming down to the last couple laps, and Rennick is gaining on Larson. And this is like, oh, here we go. We're going to see a pass in these last couple laps. And we're coming down 2 laps ago, and that was where, Rennick was like on his bumper. But it looked like near when Rennick got really close, Rennick was kind of following Larson. He wasn't running his own lane. He was just it was almost like he was trying to get a draft off Larson. I don't know. But he couldn't. He just got really tight, or dirty air was affecting his car, and he just lost it coming to the white flag, and that's where he had no opportunity on the white flag to make a move, and that's where Larson was able to stretch his lead back out to about half a second, and that's what allowed Larson to cruise to his first victory of 2024. Overall, this race was really, really good. I felt, yes, did Larson dominate? Yes, but that's what's going to happen when you give one of the best drivers in the sport a great car. And to me, I didn't feel like it was dominating, but you just knew with some of these cars like Ty Rennick, if he got there, he would have had an opportunity to make a move, and he did, but it ran out of time. And definitely, I think he was mad at his pit crew, the mistakes. He was saying same crap, different year. That's the PG version of what he actually said. It's a family show. Not really. So he was frustrated. Also, I know Ross Chastain was frustrated with Blaney for Blaney was kind of air blocking Ross. That's kind of what Ross does, though, pretty well. So I don't know why he was mad at what Ross does to everyone else. That's kind of what you do now. I guess you could say the same thing what Larson was doing at Rennick, air blocking, just kind of blocking it and taking away his air. That's kind of pretty common in the next gen era. But now I want to get into our top finishers. Top 37 finishers. We'll just go through a couple. Kyle Larson was first, Ty Rennick second, Ryan Blaney third, Ross Chastain 4th, Ty Gibbs 5th, Noah Gragson 6th, Mark Truex 7th, Denny Hamlin 8th, Joey Logano 9th. Number 10 is William Byron, Chase Elliott 12th, Brian Keselowski 13th, Eric Jones 14th, Carson Hocevar 15th, Austin Dillon 16th, Ricky Stenhouse 17th, Alex Bowman 18th, 19th Daniel Hemrick, and then 20th was Josh Berry. We'll just start off with Noah freaking Gragson. He put Stewart Haas on his freaking back. Look, this could be a good sign for what's to come. I don't know. I don't think Ford's not giving. They're not a tier 1 team. They're probably a tier 3 team, but they put some work in and they ran really, really well. I still feel like the Fords were the weakest out of the 3 manufacturers. I feel like they were the weakest. We did see Blaney with a top 3 finish, and also Noah Gragson top 6. They just didn't show it in the early, stages. Toyota and Chevy kind of filled the top 10 when it comes to the stage finishes. Later on in the runs, I feel like in the long run they came on strong. We can see that. But it's great to see Noah Gragson, right? Last year was a disappointing year. Some people would blame the car, some people blamed him, and then he made a bad personal decision, got suspended, was out the rest of the year, and then he came on to Stewart Haas. A lot of momentum for Stewart Haas, and was able to take home a top 6 finish. I think the rest of the Stewart Haas field finished outside the top 20. So that was a poor. We also saw Chase Briscoe. He was running top 5 once, so he was showing some good top 10 speed. But Ryan Preece and Josh Berry were kind of irrelevant in this race pretty much for Stewart Haas. Ty Gibbs, good top 5 finish. The guy 9th, he was pole winner, and then William Byron was able to recover from a lot of the big trash bag that was on his car to overheat him. Brian Keselowski finished 13th. He was below the top 20 most of the race, but was able to rebound during his last restart and make some spots up and finish really well, especially due to the fact that Chris Buescher had a very disappointing finish. Carson Hocevar for Spire Motorsports, the highest finish in Spire Motorsports car, top 15. Good. We saw him in the top 10, bottom half of the top 10, so it was good for him to see him up front. That's going to be a good sign for Spire. But if we go a little far down there, Kyle Busch finished 26th. It was due to pinning outside of his box. And there's a replay at NASCAR posted of this, and I'll show you the replay. It's literally because his splitter is over top of the line by a little bit. He slid through his box a good bit, but due to the fact his splitter was a little bit over that line, that is technically being considered pinning outside of your box. And it makes sense, I guess, because the crew guys are going to have to go into another guy's box anyway to pit the car. So it may look small and look like that's kind of lame because he was out, I guess, an inch or two. That's the rules. And also, a pit crew guy could be interfering with the guy next to him. So that really killed Kyle Busch's day because Kyle Busch was running. I think he finished top 5 in stage 1, and he might have finished top 10 in stage 2 too. He had a fast car. He was right there. He was battling with Larson early in stage 1, so he could have had a good run going too. Then with Corey LaJoie finishing 32nd due to that spin, it really killed him. He was running also top 4, I think, at once too. So that also killed him too. And then also Bubba Wallace, I believe he had a speeding penalty. He might have had something more than that. I do not know the exact thing what happened to Bubba Wallace to cause him to go multiple laps down. Also Chris Buescher finishing last due to the loose wheel coming off and him hitting the wall. Great, solid race. Nothing as exciting as last week, but I thought it was a good race. I thought it was compelling in my opinion. I'm looking forward to next week as we go to Phoenix. This will be where the first race with this new short track package. We're finally going to see what the improvements were, how big they were. I believe they're going to have an hour practice to see other cars and how the cars handle. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be intriguing racing. I did pick Kyle Larson to win this race, so that is another pick I got right. I put this race on the rolly rate. I'm going to go a 7.2. Good race. Good race. Good race. It was, to me, a good race. Some people are going to say it's not. Now, I would like to see a little more competition up front. Larson did dominate the race pretty much, led 181 laps. The only other guy who led the second most laps only led 18 laps, which was Kyle Busch. So that wasn't really, there's not much. He dominated this race. We always knew if Renner could get there, he could have had a run for him, which he did, just didn't have enough time. So yeah, 7.2. I'm excited again for Phoenix. But besides that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave a comment when you talk about the race. Besides that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.